Alright, welcome back to Luigi's Mansion. I don't know why the game expected Luigi to be there, but can't imagine you would be able to send Luigi through a door. I need Luigi to go into the cage here because you can see there's water. I'm pretty sure I can't vacuum up the key. That's no fair. Alright, well, get Luigi up. There's a spike trap here set to kill me. So I'm gonna have to dismantle these ghosts first before I actually free Luigi. Or I suppose if they left me alone long enough, I might be able to free Luigi ahead of time. But I think I have more than enough time to do it here. Hell yeah. I probably have another good, I want to say 15-20 seconds. Maybe even longer, who knows. Yeah, that would be about the point where Luigi would be dead. Right about there. Alright, Luigi, we're gonna go in the next room. It's clear based on everything that this game has showed me up to this point that I'm going to use a lot of Luigi in this stage with all the spikes and, you know, hazards that a flesh being, cannot go through. But you, as the goo monster, can. And I gotta push it one more. One more, and then we'll be good to go. There we go. Haha, said Luigi. I got through because I made a goo. However, I'm also gonna send Luigi down into the pit from fucking Mortal Kombat. Just a spike. It's really just a spike pit, really. And you would fight, and then whenever it's a finish him or finish her, you would just do an uppercut, and they would fly down in the pit and go sploosh. And then for some reason, there was a hidden character who was not all that hidden after Mortal Kombat 1 called Scorpion. And if you did stuff in just the right order, you could fight Scorpion, but the problem was he was just sort of a clone of... He was a clone combination of, if I remember correctly, of Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Okay, so he had both the powers of Scorpion and Sub-Zero. And you fought him at the bottom of the pit only. And he was sort of just, like I said, a special fight that really didn't make any difference, you know, for the most part. Just sort of like, I don't know. I guess like a hidden boss, like, trying to think of a non-RPG example. I'm having trouble. I mean, in Dark Souls, there's always quote-unquote optional bosses. They're not required for you to beat the game. Like, there's a whole, in Dark Souls 1, there's a whole DLC where you start out by first fighting Artorias, the Abyss Walker, and then you end up fighting to save Sif, the good pupper, and then after saving the good pupper, you fight Manus. Who I guess is supposed to be the extreme version of if the Dark Soul wins. So yes, not to get onto a Dark Souls conversation, but Dark Souls universe is pretty fucked. It's like, do you continue the Age of Fire and lie to everybody some more? Or do you let the darkness consume everyone and everything turns to shit? And then the implication is, particularly from Dark Souls 3, is that it doesn't really matter if you choose to link the flame, thumbs up. If you choose not to link the flames, eventually someone else is going to come along and, you know, basically knock you off your horse, take the throne, you know, and light themselves on fire. So you can't really get away from it. Trying to figure out how to push this, but I'm not using one of my very obvious moves. This one. Oh look! Would you believe the fact that, you know, you have a cart to the right, and that the other one's showing it has wheels, but it doesn't actually completely create a cart? So how do you fix that? We either drop some sort of cart-like thing on top of the wheels, or it's hidden because it's in a ghost form. Ta-da! And that's how you get Luigi past the obstacle. What? Oh, come on, Chris. Wrong button. You could have just, with all of them just basically piled up like that, all you had to do was a quick flash like that, and you would have eaten 90% of those little baby ghosts. Just like this. Boom. That's how you do it. That's how I could have done it. Anyway, let's continue. Down the hallway into the next area. That floor tile definitely isn't suspicious to me at all. Cutscene suspicious, that is. Luckily, these obstacles don't occur all that frequently, so it's not a big deal. I often, you know, have little alcoves where you normally put flowers, but instead of that, I put coins, because what else would you put there? Flowers, decorations, maybe a trophy. I don't really like to talk about, you know, the business of YouTube too much, because I'm not actually in the business of YouTube. I'm actually in this is sort of just a hobby for me. And my subscriber count sort of is indicative of that, because I do what I want to do, and that does not garner a lot of subscriptions. But here's my point. There's a door here. That's the point now. I've been following, I don't follow too many people, you know, subscribe to their stuff, mainly because the people I seem to subscribe to always seem to like quit YouTube. Like, I'm like, oh my god, this guy or girl is really great, I really love them, and then all of a sudden they're like, they either get too popular for YouTube and they start, you know, venturing outside of the YouTube formula. Like, you know, oh, I'm a sports commentator person, I'm gonna stop doing that. Instead I'm gonna write a book. Or I'm gonna I don't know, whatever. I'm gonna rest on all the money I've made on the big YouTubes. That's a very rare thing. We're talking like the quote-unquote 1% of YouTubers. Or I suppose you could create something that's directed at 2-year-olds that mothers and fathers put on their iPads or tablets to keep their kids entertained, like Cocomelon. Alright, this is the boss battle. For this floor, that is. So, I am a little less than halfway up this Well, I guess I shouldn't say I'm a little I'm not quite halfway up yet, because there's still a basement button that I don't have, and then there's the remaining probably so many floors. So I'm a little less than halfway through the game. I've only so far rescued one of my, what I believe is 5 companions, unless you count Egad. Then I've rescued 2 of 6. There's at least 2 more toads that are different colors. There's Peach and there's Mario. So I've rescued 1 toad of 3. No Marios, no princesses. I guess since I'm mid-boss battle, I can talk about sort of a subject that I've been going back and forth in my brain as to whether or not I wanted to talk about while recording. I don't ask me why. I like Mario games. I like Mario. I have nothing wrong with him. I have nothing wrong with Peach. I like Luigi because he's sort of like the whole like alternate player. He's never going to be the main character. He's just going to sort of be that bumbling, goofy sidekick slash, in this case, it's Mario's brother. And I've mentioned it probably in other playthroughs about how I think Luigi's sort of a more human version. You know, he's more like you and me than Mario ever is, because Mario's just like, oh, the princess, she got captured. I'm gonna go rescue her. And like Luigi's like, well, what happens if like 15 different things happen and we die? And Mario's like, oh, don't worry about it, Luigi. You worry too much. And I'm like, I understand this is a magical kingdom, you know, and you're just you're sort of the premise is you're a plumber in the Mushroom Kingdom, which is silly in itself. But like I said, I always thought Luigi's, at least the way they've developed his character over the years, always felt a little bit more like, this seems to make a little more sense. Whereas when you play as Luigi, whether it be in Super Mario 2 or you play Luigi's mode in Galaxy, he tends to play as a sort of a harder to use version of Mario. Typically, he has disadvantages versus his brother, like, for instance, in Galaxy 1, his shoes are slipperier. So the platforming isn't as solid as with Mario. When you do your spin move underwater to speed up your swimming, Mario doesn't lose any of his breath meter, whereas whenever Luigi does it, he uses up part of his breath meter, which makes it more difficult to be underwater versus, you know, his brother. But it's sort of not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to get at here, sort of roundaboutly, is and I know this is very, you know, like non-conformist, you know, angsty teenager of me, but like, we got him, we did it, we beat the king. Right into my vacuum cleaner. All the little poster guys of all the different ghost types that we fought so far will sink into the background. Sort of the roundabout thing that I want to get at is, so I like again, like characters that are sort of like secondary to the main cast. And for me, it doesn't get more secondary than Daisy and Luigi. And I'm one of those people that really like Daisy and wish she were in more games, even if she just sort of appeared in the background like Luigi did in Mario Odyssey. You know, you had I don't know if they ever gave Luigi a Luigi mode in that or not. As far as I know, they did. They may have added it later, I don't know. But what I'm trying to get at is, this is sort of Luigi's main thing. This is where he gets to be player number one, you know what I mean? And he gets to be the main character. And I always thought it would be kind of nifty if in a co-op mode they would give you, instead of Luigi, they would give you, you know, Princess Daisy to be your what is it? Co-op partner, you know? And part of that is because the way they've sort of fleshed out Daisy's character in the Mario Party / Mario Racing / Mario Sports games. Is she's a bit of a tomboy, you know, she's sort of rough and tumble, and she's kind of got the confidence, you know, that a lot of some of this I'm pulling off the way the internet sort of made her in, what the internet sort of made her into, but you know, she's much more confident. So this dichotomy between the scaredy pants Luigi and the fearless, you know, Princess Daisy in a mansion, I think would be hilarious. But again, I don't know for certain, but I can tell based on the fact that Daisy's more or less relegated to sports / party games, that she's probably not thought of very highly at Nintendo headquarters. And I know it came from a different Nintendo team that made Super Mario Land for the Game Boy, and because it didn't necessarily come out of Miyamoto's brain, or it's sort of a ripoff of, you know, or like an alternate version of Princess Peach in a way, it's kind of like, who cares? She's not Peach, so who cares? We're not going to give her her own game. We're not even going to make her a side character. Sort of like Waluigi. He's another one. Not that I care about Waluigi, but Waluigi is like another character that exists only so that a different mainstay Mario character in Wario has a partner. You know, you've got Mario and Luigi, you've got Princess Peach and Daisy. You know, they're designed to be sort of different types. So you would have Mario and Peach, Luigi Daisy, or Mario and Luigi and Princess Daisy and Peach. Again, it's just sort of for team purposes. It doesn't really, I don't think it necessarily has any big lore implications or anything that should be actually important. But I kind of gathered that she's really not at all important because, you know, in other games, like I'm mainly thinking of Mario 3D. Is it 3D World? They gave you the ability to play as Mario, Luigi, Peach. Did they let you play Peach? Yeah, they let you play as Peach because you were trying to rescue something unrelated to Peach. So you can play as Mario, Luigi, Peach. You could play as a Toad, and then later on, I think you don't get it initially when you play the game, but later on you unlock not Daisy, but you unlock Rosalina. You know, Peach or Daisy's not at all in the game, and then I'm not sure if the Yoshis are playable like they are in the most recent side scroller, but they seem to add everybody in that game. So Daisy's in that game, Mario, Luigi, Toads, you know, Yoshis, etc. They're all in the game. And what am I thinking of? So I don't know. I think it'd be nifty because, you know, you would give, I'm talking mainly for co-op purposes, you know, And then, you know, as if you're playing single player, maybe you could have her sort of be like in... if you wanted to like legitimately include her in the story, I suppose you could have her sort of in like a situation where she, you know, she's doing her own ghost hunting while you're sort of doing your own solo thing, and you bump into her occasionally, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Alright, we're going to go to the level 7 now. Hi, Luigi. Hello, Luigi. I don't know. We're gonna go to the next level, which I believe is a garden. Don't be afraid, Luigi. There's nothing scary in a garden other than human-eating monster plants, you know? We'll only gobble you up a little bit, Luigi. A little bit. I want to vacuum everything up. We're going to look at the pictures. There's nothing in these pictures. However, there's a gem I didn't realize was here. I was just sort of seeing if the pictures had anything that I could, like, I don't know, create money out of. I didn't expect to actually reveal a gem. Not really much of a hint there, other than there's picture frames. Alright, we're gonna move on here, and I'm gonna go through these double doors here in just a second. I gotta open this up, see what's in here. Ooh, bats! And then we're gonna go through the double door after we collect all the gold here, and I will see you guys next time.